Okay, everyone. Looks like it's 3 o'clock Eastern time, right on the dot. I am going to, right as we get started, I'm going to go ahead and just mute all of the lines so we don't have a ton of background noise. But you can definitely unmute yourself. Welcome any questions that you have throughout the presentation. For those that just joined, this is Danielle Cole. I think I've probably spoken with most of you. If I haven't, it's very nice to meet you, and I'm really glad that you've been able to join. So I am the Director of People Operations for Agile Defense, and I'm going to be going through a little tutorial of Ulti Pro. We're going to review some sections that are outside of the performance management module, but then we're also going to dive in. I just want to give you a visual of kind of what to expect. So I'm going to go ahead and mute the lines, but please unmute yourself if you have any questions. There's also a chat feature on the webinar, so if you prefer to send me something in chat, I'll try to make sure that I pay attention to that throughout the presentation, and I'm able to answer any questions that you have. So I'm just going to go ahead and mute now because I know sometimes that background noise can get a little distracting, but again, please feel free to unmute yourself. So thank you again for joining today. We will probably get through this before the 45 minutes is up, but I just added in that extra time to make sure that we had enough time available to answer questions. So hopefully everyone can see my screen right now. If you can't, please send me a quick message. You should see the Agile Defense homepage for our Ulti Pro. So right here, we're going to just go ahead and get started. We've got several groups of employees on today. You know, we've got some folks that have maybe been through this performance management within Ulti Pro last year, which is our first year going through Ulti Pro. And then we've obviously got our new group of employees that have recently joined the team and will be doing their appraisals for the first time in Ulti Pro. So when we first log into the system, a couple of things that I wanted to show you. First off, if you haven't poked around on the home page, we've got some really important links here that you can become familiar with. The first one up here is the top in the center. This is going to be our Cheers for Peers. So if you're not familiar with our Cheers for Peers program, this is what we like to do to allow employees to recognize their coworkers or anyone that helped you throughout the day or something that you would just like to recognize. All you have to do is click on the little link right here, and it comes over to the submission page where you can identify who you would like to recognize, which core value this individual demonstrated or whatnot in their support to you. And then you can choose a nice little card that you think might be relevant to the situation. And then this is, again, just something that we like to do to always provide that feedback and encouragement and just, thanking people that have made our day, or so to speak. Another section here is for our professional development request form. So if everyone in the company is eligible for up to $5,250 each calendar year for professional development. So that can be, maybe it's, many of our employees have certification requirements for their positions. So sometimes there are annual fees that are associated with the certifications. Perhaps you need to go to a boot camp, any type of conference or seminar, college courses, anything to that effect. It all falls under our professional development request program. And again, all you have to do is click the link, and this is going to take you into our request form. It walks you through the process and the procedure, and then you just key in all your information here, upload any applicable documents. Again, our program has a limit of $5,250 available to all employees each calendar year, and that amount resets on January 1st of the following year. The next section that we have here is for our employee referral bonus program. Our recruiters love referrals, and we have a strong belief that our best recruiters are our own employees. You guys are great and great people. So any referrals that you'd like to submit, just go ahead and click on the link right here. You'll fill out the information on the candidate that you are referring. You can upload their resume here, and this goes directly to our recruiting team. They always like to, they'll reach out right away to that candidate and perhaps they fit on a current role or a future opportunity, and so they stay in touch with all of our referrals. So again, our best recruiters really are our employees, so we definitely, welcome any submissions that you have into this program. On the left-hand side, there's a little section here that's for handy documents. These are some of our most commonly requested forms. There are some additional forms and documents that you can access by going to Menu, Myself, and down to Electronic Forms. So this is definitely a couple good areas for you to find some of those most frequently asked for documents. The last one that we have here is a link that takes us to our Agile Defense happenings. If you don't know what our Agile Defense happenings is, it's our monthly newsletter that we send out with a lot of great information, updates or things that are going on at the company. And this also can take you to the historic versions of those newsletters as well. I believe today we released our 4th monthly newsletter, so it is a new newsletter that's coming out, and it was really built off of the premise that our employees wanted to know more about what's going on in the company. And we got that feedback through our employee satisfaction survey that we did earlier this year. So you can just take a look at this link right here. It's going to take you to all of our historic happenings that were released. All of those emails go to your Agile Defense email address. So definitely make sure that you stay up to date on that so you can see what's going on in the company, especially right now. It's a big time of the year, closing out all of our end of year activities like open enrollment, performance appraisals, all of that kind of stuff. So those are a couple of the areas on the home screen that I wanted to address. The other area that I would like to show you, if you're not too familiar with it, is on your Myself page. Obviously, this is going to be different areas that you can jump into within Ulti Pro to access your personal information. One of the areas that we utilize a lot is going to be your name, address, and telephone page. There's a couple of things on here that are really a great help to us. The first one is going to be your t-shirt size, if you'd like to share that. And if you've been with the company for any period of time, you'll know that we like swag. So we always like to send out goodies and whatnot. Occasionally those goodies include apparel items. And if that's the case, we'd love to know what size you would like for us to send you maybe a polo or something. Whenever we have apparel items, we refer here. So make sure that you've got your information here up to date, as well as your address, your phone number, your contract email address for our folks that are on contract. That way we know how to get in touch with you and help you whenever you need anything. Another area that is also important, we just recently released this SMS text feature. So if you're not accustomed to checking your Agile email account frequently, which I completely understand because you've got your personal email address, you've got your contract email address, and to add a third email address to the mix sometimes is a bit difficult. So if you would prefer, we actually are sending out periodically. We're not going to inundate you with text messages, but just for you to have another reminder to check your email when there's something really important. For instance, right now that we're in open enrollment. So if you wanted to do that, all you have to do is click on edit and then come down to the community broadcast section, and you can select which text message, which phone number you'd like to receive text messages for. And then you just opt in there. The other area on this page that really helps us is down here in the Getting to Know You section. So all of our new hires, a big majority of our new hires from about May or so through present have completed this Getting to Know You in their onboarding. But some of our more senior folks have or have not. It really depends. We sent out a request for this Getting to Know You, and this is really getting to know you outside of just what you do on the job. This is important because we like to get to know people on an individual basis, but then also getting a better understanding for how you like to receive praise, how you like to receive feedback, and really being able to tailor that personal experience. So if you've gone into your name, address, telephone page and you don't see a link right here, all you have to do to get to the to the form is to highlight this hyperlink right here and post it into another web browser, and then you're going to get into our Getting to Know You page. And I'm just going to show you that real quick. This is just a little bit of information about getting to know you. Again, this is something that we would use just to understand, you know, what drives you, maybe some type of personalized recognition for going above and beyond or whatever it may be. Anything like that is definitely helpful. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of that area. The next area within Ulti Pro that I wanted to show you, again, is going to go to your menu and go over to Myself and then down to the Career and Education section. Within this area is really great because a lot of this information can actually pull directly into your annual appraisal. So as we go throughout the year, people are constantly doing, you know, fantastic work, getting kudos left and right, and even, you know, cheers for peers coming in from your coworkers. This is a really great area where you can actually document that yourself. And then when it does come time for your annual appraisal, you've really got all of the legwork already taken care of. So as you can see here from competencies, everyone, I hope, recognizes that these are our 6 core values, our 6 H's. And then on the right-hand side, you've got all of these hyperlinks to go into notes. So all you have to do is to click on one of these hyperlinks, and you can come right into like a text box field, and you can put anything that you'd like in here. Maybe you'd like to document a kudos that you received, or sometime that you know, maybe you went above and beyond, or you took on a workload that was outside of maybe your normal requirements or whatever it may be. You can put that in here, and it's able to be recorded against each and every core value. You can also choose who you would like to see this, you know, comment or example that you're putting in here. Only me means just that, only yourself. Everyone doesn't really mean everyone. Everyone really only means yourself, your manager, their manager, kind of that upline in terms of management. Everyone does not mean your coworker or an employee that reports to you. Just think upline when you look at everyone. The additional feature that this has is this visible from review checkbox. So let's say you've entered a comment in here, an example of, you know, how you've demonstrated honesty. If you click visible from review, when a review is launched, you're actually going to be able to pull these in directly into your review and have them visible, ready for you to record. This means that you don't have to toggle between the competencies page and then the review page and going back and forth. So it's really just convenient to have everything in one place. And again, you can record anything that you like in each and every competency or core value. If you hear competency, think core value. If you hear core value, think competency. It's really the same thing. The other area that I'd like to show you is on your talent profile page. So perhaps there's something that you'd like to record that you don't really feel like it fits very well in any of those competencies. You've got another little text box or note-taking area here on your talent profile page. And again, you've got the same restrictions in terms of visibility and whether you'd like for that to be visible from within the review or not. So those are really handy because if throughout the year, you know, if you just make a habit out of going in here, you can key in all that information. It makes it so at the end of the year, you don't forget about all those great things that were done at the beginning or mid-year. So you've got all of that taken care of. It makes for the review to go super fast. The next area is over here under licenses. So as I was talking in our professional development program, I think probably 90% of our employees have some type of certification requirement for their position. And this is an area where we can track those certifications that you have. So an employee can just come in here and you can add any and all of the licenses or certifications that you have. You know, there's probably thousands of certifications out there. This is what we have currently in the system. If you go in here and you try to add a certification and you don't find it on the drop-down list, just send a message to your program manager, or to the People Ops team at peopleops@agile-defense.com, and we can go ahead and get that added in here for you. You'll record your certification number if there's one available, the date that it was received, the date that it renews, and then this way we can track this certification to make sure that we're always in compliance. You'll notice here that there is not an upload button, unfortunately, for that certification. You can actually upload documents by going to Menu, Myself, and then over to Employee Documents. And this is where you can actually upload a copy of that document. If this process is a little bit too long, or you just would like some help with it, we definitely would encourage you to just send us a copy of that certification to peopleops@agile-defense.com, and we're more than happy to take care and record all of this for you on your behalf. That might be easier and faster, and if that's going to make it more likely for us to get a copy of that certification, then by all means, please send it to us. We would love to take care of that for you. So before we get into performance management, do we have any questions on this first section? Again, I have everyone on mute, so you can send in a message or you can unmute yourself, and I'd love to answer any questions that we have thus far. Maybe it's a different area that I haven't yet shown as well, if you had any questions. No? Okay. I take that as everything was covered and it was clear. Okay, so we're going to jump into performance management real quick. So again, we're on our home page, and you'll notice that I have an action to do up on the top right-hand corner. I can also access this to do by coming to Menu and down to Inbox. These are the same place. It just depends on what is most convenient for you, where to go to get into your action items. I'm going to click up here in the top right-hand corner, which is the to-do section, and you'll see that I have one pending action. Anything that requires an action of my own is going to actually show up here. So maybe one day I come in and I've got 3 items to complete. Our managers are going to see that as our employees are submitting their appraisals. They're going to have more and more actions to complete. You'll see here on initiated, this is when the request was initially distributed, the type of request that it's for, the description, priority, who it is initiated for. This is going to be your name, who it's initiated by. In this case, for the annual performance appraisal, it's going to show my name here. And then over here, you're going to see the status. It's currently in the employee assessment phase, and it is incomplete. So to jump into the review, I'm just going to come over here to edit. At the top, we're going to have some generic information about the review itself. You'll see this section might be familiar because we just looked at it. This is going to be that general note-taking area that we discussed previously on the talent profile. This is what I mean by having something be visible from within the review. This is where it's going to show. If you have comments or examples or anything that was entered into those competency sections or into that talent profile page, that the option to be visible from review was not selected, those comments and examples are not going to show up here. Again, this is just out of pure convenience that you've got it in one spot and you don't need to toggle between different pages within Ulti Pro. The next section here is going to have a bit of a description about what to do within the appraisal. It's going to talk about making sure that you've got comments clarifying the ratings are included, so that we can make sure that everything is as thorough as possible. We've got our contributor path. So some folks here, they might see 2 individuals, they might see 3 individuals, depending on how the program has decided to loop in, team leads and or program managers into the contributor path. The next section is actually where we're going to do the bulk of the work. The first one is going to be competencies. And again, like I said previously, when you think about competencies, think about our core values. So the Agile Defense performance management process is perhaps a little bit different than what you're used to. We really focus on how one completes their work versus just what they do. So taking a look at, your day-to-day activities is definitely important, and it plays a huge role into your appraisal. We like to also focus, though, on how those those activities were completed. You can see the rating scale by just clicking on the hyperlink here, and you'll see that a 1 indicates rarely demonstrating this core value, and then up to 5 is consistently demonstrating this core value. So just a little bit of a definition to help you tailor exactly your rating. Right here, we jump into our core values. Our 6 core values are all weighted equally. No core value is more or less important than another. And again, we've got another hyperlink here that should be familiar to you. This is where we see the notes that were previously submitted for each of our core values. So again, it's just out of pure convenience that we've got everything visible from within the review. Down here, you're going to go ahead and select from the star rating how you rate the first core value of happy. You'll see that it's listed as consistently, and then you'll want to put your supporting comments here into the comment box. So I'm just going to go through quickly and just put in some filler text so I can show you what everything looks like once it gets completed. And again, each of these competency sections are going to have their individual notes, and this will be based on any type of comment or notes that you've entered throughout the year into that competencies tab. It's not a requirement to complete the notes, throughout the year in the competencies tab. It's purely just out of, convenience, because I know as we get to the end of the year, we've got a lot of things going on, and, it's sometimes hard to remember, what we did in January, February, or sometimes it's even hard just to remember what we did last week. So just staying up to date on that, I think, will really help people get moved along the process. So based on the quick rating that I put in here, down at the bottom, you'll see the average came out to a 4.33 or routinely. And if I'm happy with, what I've submitted here, I can just go ahead and click Save and Close. You'll see that the page refreshes, and now we've got a green check box or check mark, and it's indicated as having been completed. The next thing that we move into is going to be developmental comments. This is really going to be about, personal and professional development, things that perhaps you developed throughout the year, things that you want to focus on the following year. All of those comments can be entered here into this section. Again, just some filler text as well. You'll notice here that the developmental comments, it does not have a check mark, and that's because when it comes to the actual rating itself, the only section that's rated is going to be competencies. There's an NA in these others. So while these areas are definitely important, they're not a requirement, but we do encourage you to utilize them so you can really discuss and address all of the great things that have been done throughout the year, and kind of that plan for next year. You can come into overall comments, and perhaps there's something that didn't really fit in those core values, or it didn't fit in the developmental, some type of clarification, anything to that effect. You can go ahead and enter it in here. I'm just going to go and do cancel just so we don't go through that one. And since I didn't add any notes here, it still lists as start, but again, it's the developmental comments and overall comments are not required. They are encouraged, but again, they're not required. At this point, I'm ready to submit. I've reviewed everything. I'm happy with what I've put together. Down here, think of this box as like an email body. You'll see here that it says that these comments will not appear in the final review, but they are visible to the contributors. And that's because as soon as we submit, our manager is going to receive an email stating that they have a task to complete. And within that email, your comments here are going to appear. So for instance, you might say, Stephen, which I believe is Emily Employees Manager, I can meet on Friday at 2 o'clock if you'd like to discuss, or something to that effect. Anything that you'd like to enter, think of it as like that email body. You can go ahead and submit it in here. And then I'm ready to submit this to my manager. You'll get a little message up here saying, are you sure you want to submit? Yes, I do. And then as soon as the system, the page refreshes, you'll see that I as an employee no longer have an action to complete at this point. Your manager is going to receive a message saying that they now have an action to complete, and they're going to come in and they will have a task to complete, that being the assessment. Again, they come up here to the to-dos. my manager actually has two tasks to complete. One is his own employee assessment, but now he also has the manager assessment for me, Emily, employee. So they're going to come in here to edit, and this is where they've got the exact same experience that you did, that you had when you went through it. They're able to come in and look at you know, your supporting comments and your rating, and they're able to do their own rating. And I'm going to show you that. First, what I want to show you, though, is a little bit further down here. This is where a manager can either send this to you for your signature, or they can send it back to you. Maybe there is a comment that wasn't entered. There's an area that's incomplete. They may send this back to you, and down here is where they can enter those comments as to why it's getting sent back to you, or why it's getting sent to you for signature. So it's the same type of experience. I'm going to jump in here to the competency section. You'll see here that, again, like I said, they've got the same view that you did, the same access to any notes that you've indicated are visible from the review. They'll see your input, you know, it's a read-only input. They can't change anything here. And then they're going to go through and they're going to add their own input. So again, we're just going to go through real quick. I think I might have, oh, I got that one. And as we get through here, we're going to see as well, based on the manager, I think I might have skipped one. Let me check real quick. Oh, I did. There we go. Got the last one. So after all of them are entered, our manager also came out to a 4.33. So they're going to go ahead, save and close. And they've got a green checkbox also, or check mark also. They've completed their section. And then they can come into, again, the same rundown. So coming into developmental comments, they can add any type of comment here that they would like. And then they can also come into the overall comments. Again, all of these, what are the competencies, the overall comments, the developmental comments. This is everything that's going to be recorded on the appraisal itself once it's finalized. This, when it comes down to the send section, these are the comments that are just visible from like the email feature. At this point, we've asked managers to pause. They are not, they're going to complete their section. They're not yet going to send it to you for signature. We feel that it is very important to talk about appraisals if it's possible in person. If not, you know, over the phone for folks that maybe aren't at the same location as their managers. But we feel very strongly that it's important for before somebody signs off on anything that you've had a chance to discuss it. So at this point, a manager can come in here. They will print or save as a PDF the review. They're going to schedule a meeting with you to do a one-on-one and discuss everything from the review. And then, of course, you know, anything else that comes up. So the entire review is going to be visible from a PDF or from a printed version of it. After that one-on-one has happened, your manager is going to come back in and they're going to send it to you for a review or for a signature. They go in and send. At this point, again, you're going to get an email saying you've got a task to complete. It's ready for your employee acknowledgement. Again, now we have a new task up here on the top right. We go into to do, and we're now in the employee acknowledgement phase. So here we just come over to edit. You know, by this point, we've already seen the review because we've had our one-on-one, but if you wanted to look at it again, you can just jump into all of these sections if you'd like to do one at a time, or you can access it via that print button at the top, and you can see all of it in one space. And then we've got our signing and complete section. These are any additional comments. Final comments are included in the posted review. So anything that you would like to add here can be done at this time. And you know, if you're ready to sign in and complete, you just click on the green sign and complete. It's pretty straightforward. Your manager at this point, they're going to get an email saying that it's ready for their signature. They will go in and they will sign off on it. And once they've signed off on it, the entire review cycle has been completed. And you can see your completed reviews, again, by going over to myself and down to jobs and then reviews. Right now, since I haven't logged out and logged back in as the manager, it's showing that it's in the manager acknowledgement phase. But if I were to go in and log in as the manager and sign off on it, when you go to the reviews, it's going to jump down here to history, and it's going to show up as another line of history on your reviews page. And that's it. I think it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You know, last year was our first year utilizing Ulti Pro for performance management, and I'm really happy to say that a review cycle that used to take about 3 months to complete was done in about 5 weeks, which is the same amount of time that we set aside this year. We got some really good feedback from it, and we're really excited for you know, being able to continue with this platform again this year. At this point, I'm happy to say that we got through this much faster than I had anticipated. So does anyone have any questions? Again, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to speak up, or if you have any questions that you'd like to send via the chat window, go ahead and do that now. We can just hang tight. If you don't have any questions, I can give you an extra 15 minutes back into your day. You're free to drop off. If you would prefer to reach out to me personally, please feel free to do so. Any types of questions or support that you need, I am ready and willing and excited to help with that. So again, I really appreciate everyone taking the time to go through this training. I really hope you found it beneficial. And you know, thank you again. Please feel free to speak up if you have any questions.